right, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all the glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors unto my apostles and others, a great millstone. Peace and safety to all the sincere Akim that's out here pushing this word in truth and in all sincerity. Shalom. All right, and shalom to the sincere sisters that tune in as well. I want to do this very quick lesson. Lord willingly, it's edifying and informative in the spirit, as the title of this lesson is or the stream, AI technology will lead to more deception, so don't be simple. All right. And the reason why I wanted to do this lesson was, well, first let's read the scripture and go from there. All right, let's deal with the scripture first. This is Matthew 24 and 24. Okay. Matter of fact, let's go to it's 24 and 22. Matthew 24 and 22. And it says, and except those days shall be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, well, I'll read down, that's the spirit, it's fine. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Okay. Now, one of the things that's happening that's excuse me. One thing that's for surely shortening the days is this technology. All right. The Lord is putting the spirit on these devils to increase the technology. The growth of technology is allowing new advancements to occur that is leading to the point of this new world order. Okay, now let's get this next precept real quick. Let this precept speak. This is Daniel 12 and 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And I remember the apostles and elders Apostle Tahar did a lesson a few years back dealing with this subject matter of quantum leap. All right. Knowledge and technology is increasing to a point where now, at one point 100 years ago or centuries ago, knowledge and technology would increase every 100 years or every 50 years. But we're at a point now in time where this technology is advancing at such a fast pace that when you buy your new iPhone 14, as soon as you get it, it's already obsolete. That PS5 that you have is already obsolete. Okay, if you have a 2023 MacBook Pro computer or whatever, it's obsolete already. As soon as you get it, because knowledge and information is increasing at such a point now where it's increasing at a pace of roughly 2 times a day. All right. And I can only imagine what it's done in the last several years, and because it's increasing. Okay. So that's part of that time being shortened. Okay. All right. Matter of fact, hold on. Like I said, I don't want to make sure I hit some scriptures. All right. Bear me 1 second. All right. This is Revelation 11 and 14. And it reads, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And when you read about these woes in Revelation, first woe, second woe, and the third one that cometh quickly, this is dealing with, excuse me, I'm sitting in my car. Hey, if you can see me, I'm still here. But that third woe that cometh quickly is a technological advancements that's made it come quickly. You got to remember, let's look up something real quick. Creation of flying planes, right? The Wright brothers invented and flew the first airplane in 1903. Shalom to all the people tuning in. Shalom. All right. So the first plane, okay, created by the Wright brothers, was 1903. Now, when was World War? It's to be World War One. Now, we just said plane flight started in 1903. By World War One started in 1914 and lasted till 1918. So you see the technological advancement from 1903 to 1914. What is that? 11 years. So they went from the videos where you see the wobbly plane and the Wright brothers. You know, it went from that to actual warplanes in a matter of a decade. Okay, a matter of a decade of technological advancements led to warplanes and so on and so forth, right? So when we went from World War One to World War Two, I'm sorry, let me see. Sorry, I'm trying to get some light on in here. Forgive me, you know, it's all impromptu. You know, this ain't no $1 million studio. So my point of it all is the scriptures is letting us know, going back to Revelation, the 11th chapter, the 14th verse, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. This third woe will be fought with a high level of technological advancements in human history. Okay? Which is what? ICBM missiles that can travel from one side of the world to the other side of the world in less than 15 minutes. Travel thousands of miles in less than 15 minutes. So this technology has increased so fast to the point where now we're in a place of AI and, you know, so many different things. Pictures that are being created out of thin air, videos that are being created out of thin air, movies that are all CGI. You understand? We have to understand that the Lord already gave us an insight on this. You know, there used to be a saying in the world, it used to go by, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. Okay? Now, we understand through the Spirit, you got to have faith in when you hear these words and believe that. But that thought process still stands true. If it doesn't correlate with the Holy Scriptures and what you've been taught, all right, starting, and I'm gonna say it here, starting with the apostles and elders on down, then you need to fact check it through the Spirit. Fuck Esau snops and fact checking through that way. You need to fact check what's going on in the world through the Holy Spirits. All right, you got to run it through the filters of Yahweh Shem Yahushai system. Okay, now let's go back to this Matthew 24. Okay, and 23, and it says, "Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Mashiach, or here is Christ, or there, believe it not." Okay, because we're in a time now where this devil could create an image out of thin air that looks real. And if you leave it to our people, the mass majority of our people would be deceived. Okay? Now the scriptures lets us know in the next verse. Let me go ahead and read it, and we'll come back to it. Verse 24. It says, "For there shall arise false anointeds or false Christs and false prophets, and shall shew great wonders, signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." And that's the point that I wanted to get in Matthew 24 and 24. That if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. So you have to be mindful in these times that this devil, through his technology that the Lord gave him, is going to be able to pull some shit off in these times that we're in that'll have you thinking it's real. thinking, but it's not. Okay? So you got to be smart. Don't be simple in these times. Okay? And I'm speaking to myself first, because we are simple at heart. You know what I mean? What I mean by that is for the most part, if you see a picture or a video, you're not thinking that there is a deceptiveness behind it to fool you. But you got to remember, everything that this devil is doing right now is to throw your ability to tell what's real from fake. Okay? Understand this to a high level. I'm going to read this last. If it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. And the simple fact that the reason why the very elect will not be deceived. All right, I'm going to get it. Let's go to Ephesians 4. And this is not going to be a long stream. I just wanted to hit this real quick, put this out there, because this needs to be considered. Okay, this is Ephesians 4, one of my favorite chapters, and this is a powerful verse. Let's get this in let's see. For the perfecting the saints to work till the whole. All right, this is Ephesians 4:14. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro. See, a child is easy to deceive. You know? Think about it. I got a daughter. If I put my hands over my face and then I do this, in her mind, as a baby's mind, I disappeared, right? If I do this, peekaboo, peekaboo, the child's mind is like, oh shit, where the hell did dad go? So you have to be henceforth, be no more children. So you have to elevate your thought process. Give yourself a second to judge. The scriptures say, hear the whole matter before thy judge. The Lord has given us all the tools in these times to understand. Don't be hasty in judgment. The scriptures say that, you know, because there's so much fucking information and videos and stuff that's going on right now that if you just go along with it, you'll just be, yep. And you don't want to be that kind of person. But I'm at the same time, I'm not speaking to be a person that, you know, is doubtful on everything. I don't believe that shit. I ain't seeing. No, I'm not saying that either. What I'm saying is that you have to judge what you got going on through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Flow with the spirit. What is the spirit saying? And if you don't know, then don't be ashamed and proud to go to somebody else and, hey, what you think about this? Hey, brother, what you think? Hey, man, you know, this is what I feel. You know, I'd say, you know, we got to, you know, wait and see. Let the spirit play out. Let it evolve a little bit more, and we're going to see what it is. All right, con, the water for that, brother. You know, you don't want to be one that just as soon as something happened, you just jumping off the diving board. That's why I said, don't be simple in these times. Don't be simple in these times, man. This AI technology, you got this AI technology, and what we're seeing right now is just the surface of it. Okay? I seen some pictures online not too long ago where it was a whole club event, right? It was a whole club event, and it was parties and people, and they had, you know, so-called Negro women. It was, you know, in this club setting, and people, you know, the whole nine, and none of it was real. It was all AI created pictures. None of the women, none of the people in the club, none of it was real. It was all digitally created visions. You have advertisement pictures that aren't real people. And a lot of times these concepts are hard for the masses of our people to comprehend, because what the hell do you mean? How do you create an image, a real image? Because we're used to the simple fact of, oh, it's a cartoon. No shit, it's not real. Nobody questions if Dragon Ball Z is real because it's a cartoon, right? But if you saw a whole real picture, like for instance, I'll use this as an example. You had this, you got You got people selling nude pictures on OnlyFans, right? But it's all AI generated pictures. It's not real. You understand what I'm saying? It's not real pictures. And people are selling them and buying them, or the people that are buying them are actually thinking this shit is real, when in all actuality, it's just pixelated imageries that's aren't, and that's not real. And I'm only using this as a base level of understanding because it's going to increase. We're going to start seeing things in the news, start hearing things. A lot of times when when these phone calls, I remember years ago, Joe Rogan, this was the last election. So what are we in, 2023 going into 2019 going into 2020? I remember on the Joe Rogan podcast, he was speaking to somebody about AI technology, and they had him listening to a phone conversation that sounded like him even back then. And he was like, I never said that. So even these phone calls, a lot of these phone calls, these companies that you're calling, right? You think that you're speaking to an actual human being to, hey, hey, Comcast, I need somebody to help me with my service. You might be talking to a real person, but at the same time, you actually might be speaking to an AI voice that's created, that's answering your questions by by being able to predetermine by you going to have these questions that you're going to answer, and these are the answers these questions that you need answered, and these are the answers that need to line up. It's all a system base. You got to understand, this is the world that we're living in. All right. That's why it said in Matthew, like I said, I'm not even gonna make this long. I don't even need a lot of precepts in this. All right, I'm gonna finish at Ephesians, but going back to this Matthew 24, and it says, for there shall arise false Christs, or false anointed ones, and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Now, see, years ago, we only had enough information to really base this off of, well, the Project Bluebeam and this, that, and the third, and et cetera, which is still true. That doesn't mean that could not occur or will not occur, however it goes. But we have to understand that right now where we are, we're in a world where AI, artificial intelligence, is legitimately taking over. Okay? These, you got virtual. I give you an example. My rib, she has a business. And even we've been looking at, because when you have a website, you can have on your if you're any brother or sister has a website, like on Shopify, GoDaddy, you can set up a chat where you go on a website, you can chat with the people of the website. A lot of people, I'm gonna hit you with this. A lot of people are trained to think that you're actually talking to a human being. Hi, how may I help you today? You're speaking to Karen. How may I help you? Hi, Karen. I'm looking for. Oh, well, let me line you up to the link. Here's a link here. Awesome. Thank you. Bye. Whole time you talking to a fucking AI bot. You can now on a business level, on a low level, you can buy business AI bots to control a lot of your shit, to create ads, to create posts, to be your virtual assistant. A lot of this is already happening on a low level. I was listening to the local, like the news here, like not the NPR, but something equivalent to that locally. And they were saying how we're literally in a house of mirrors where you're not going to be able to distinguish what's real and not no more. That's why this scripture here is powerful. That if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Okay? So don't go ape wall. Don't go dumb. Don't go off the deep end, because it's going to be some shit that's going to be occurring that's going to have us questioning reality. Is this real? Give you another example. That's why I said I just wanted to put things out here, because you got to be mindful of this. Okay? If you go back and you look at the Drake just recently performed at he just performed at Apollo, right? If you want to look this up, go look up Drake performing at the Apollo in Harlem, New York. And he brought out Dipset and the whole nine, and he performed. But if you look at it, you might think, a lot of people are arguing He was never in Harlem. He performed he had a performance in Harlem, New York at Apollo on 125th Street, but it looks like he was in a box that basically he could have performed that in his living room. And you're just, don't worry, I'm take you home. You know, you then people singing their favorite songs and jamming, and you know what I'm saying? And you know, the whole nine. This nigga's in his garage in Canada. This technology is gonna be something. Okay, that's Esau's blessing. That's part of his deception. That's part of his signs and wonders that is gonna be messing up a lot of people. Okay? Now, I want to go back to this Ephesians 4:14. It says that we hence be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine. See, a child, if you tell a child, like I said, I use the infancy as a point, but even on another level, right? How many people have been catfished? Think about catfishing. You know, with my rib, I watched that show, and it's been a long-running show on MTV. And on the show, there's a show called Catfish. If you're not familiar with catfish, matter of fact, let's Google that real quick. What does it mean to be catfish? All right. Catfishing is the process of luring someone into a relationship by means of a fictional online. So when you watch this show, you'll have people that'll take pictures from other people and will be in your DMs and, hey, how are you? I love you. You're so cute. We should meet up. And people be in relationships with people online and don't even realize. You think you talking to a woman, this beautiful 25-year-old woman, but lo and behold, you talking to some 45-year-old creep playing on your phone for the last 2-3 years. And that's a low level of deception. This deception is only going to increase to the point where you're not going to be able to tell what's real and what's fake. Okay? That's crazy, man. This light is killing me. Salakia. Okay? But children fall for it. Okay? You try to tell your son, well, you know, hey, son, you know, you might want to be smart about this. You don't know, father. You don't know, dad. You don't know. You're just old. You don't want me to. You see, that's that childish way of thinking. You have to be mindful that what we're dealing with here. Okay? And it says, by the sly of man. What does it mean, the sly? Let's look up this in a blue letter. We'll pull this up in a blue letter. Give me 1 second. All right, let's look up Ephesians. We're going to go to Ephesians 4:14 in the blue letter and see what it says. For the sly of men. All right.
Strong's G 2940. Kubaya.
All right. Oh, a dice game. Metaphor, the deception of men, because dice players sometimes cheat and defraud their fellow players. Like you have shaved dice, you know, basically what took out Offset, man. That whole situation with Offset, they were saying those were shaved dice. So the sly of men is deception, like catfishing. That's a form of deception. Okay, let's just get a regular definition of sly and see what comes up. Cunning, deceive. Okay, so the scriptures is letting us know about by the sleight or the deception of men. See, this AI, it's cute now. Oh, I'm gonna use it to make my homework and do this and do that and da 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 da. But what happens when full-fledged pictures of events are created in the other side of the world, and you can't directly determine if it's real or fake? What if an attack happens somewhere? See, another thing too with the sly of men that you got to be mindful of too, because see, And I'm gonna say this specifically to brothers, but also I'm gonna say this to people that are listening in your circles and you're communicating with. You got to be mindful of also too. We are living in a time now. See, Esau did this too. This is a part of that sly of man as well. There used to be a time on IG or Instagram, right? I don't be on Instagram like that anymore per se, but in the sense of we're talking about it, on Instagram, there was a time maybe 5-10 years ago with IG where your timeline, as they call it, right? It was in order. So when you refreshed your timeline and you went to the top of the timeline, it was in order of posts. This was posted 10 minutes ago, 11 minutes ago, 30, and so on and so forth. They changed that around. So you might see something that was posted a week ago, but it might be new to you today. But although you saw it today and it's new to you, doesn't make it new. Does that make sense? So you got to remember that a lot of this news, even right now with this whole Chicago looting thing, right? A lot of these looting videos that you're seeing online aren't right now news. A lot of this shit didn't happen in the last few days. Okay, now this Walmart stuff is happening. But then you start seeing a lot of other videos. Like there's this video in Philly, right? And they were trying to play this recently, but it was clearly a video from the George Floyd protest. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be mindful of, is this actually happening even right now? Or is this something that happened months or years ago? Or is it something that may not even have fucking happened? You got to be able to differentiate the real from the fake. Okay? That's what we're here to do. When you're be a judge, when you think about the balances of equity, right? When you see the woman holding the scales, you got to be able to weigh that shit on the scale. And does it weigh out? What is this? That's why I say, when you're dealing with judgment, sometimes you gonna want to jump out there. You might not really know it, and that's okay. You be like, man, I don't even know, man. I'm just going. It's okay to not have an answer for every fucking thing. If you don't know, you don't know. So just, hey, I don't know what this is. Hey, and if a brother judge you on that or look at you crazy, like, what the fuck he mean? Then that's on that nigga. All right, because that's what a nigga would look at you. All right, a brother would be like, okay, cun. Because if I don't know something, I'm going to say I don't know something. The scriptures say if you don't have an answer, to put your hand over your fucking mouth. Sometimes it's just best to just be like this. I don't know, brother. I don't know, brother. I'm being honest with you. I don't know, brother. Come. Let's just watch and see what happens and play out. But see what this world has done, and we got to be mindful of even this in the spirit, all of us, in this truth. This ain't about breaking fucking news, man. See, that's another demon that tries to jump on all of us. Oh, I seen this. Breaking news. Reporting live. Now you done jumped out there and you done said some shit, and now you got to come back and clean up. Now you got to delete and come back and apologize because you done jumped out there trying to be the fucking breaking news of Israel. Fuck that. Sometimes you got to be like, man, I'm going to give it a day and see how this play out. Let me see what's going on out there. I'm going to give it a day. I'm going to watch it. By the end of the week, if something play out, I might do a lesson on it. Or I'm going to ask a brother what you think. Won't you do some research and see what you see? That's being wise. That's not being tossed to and fro as a child. That's not being deceived by the sleight of men. Okay, now reading on, and cunning craftiness. See, this AI, this high level of technology is cunning craftiness. But see, it's easy to deceive Jake and really the people of the world because of why? Man, the average nigga in America is still using a flip phone. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, I want to speak on this technology in that regard. Like, you got to understand, like, man, I said this to a brother before, man. There's this movie with Sandra Bullock. And in the movie with Sandra Bullock, this movie, she was in the Bro, okay, F that. I could use another example. I seen this Edomite woman. They showed this video from this Edomite, a so-called white woman in the mid to late 90s, was going online. Follow what I'm saying here. In the 90s, this woman was going on her computer, placing orders to the grocery store to pick up her groceries in the 90s. How many black people or so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans do you know today that are going on their computer, placing advertisements, right? I mean, not placing advertisement, placing orders on their computer to then have their groceries dropped off at the house? Some, right? I'll say some, but do you think it's a lot? I'd probably sure it's, I would say it's probably not a lot. I'm pretty sure a few of us, I've done it a few times. You know what I'm saying? Place an order and have it dropped off, or through Instacart, or, you know, you place your order at the grocery store and, you know, they pick it up for you and you can go pick it up. You know what I'm saying? But you have so-called white people that's been doing this since the 90s. Okay? So it says, in cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. Okay? So again, and going for about 30 minutes, I just wanted to speak on that in the spirit of understanding we're living in a high level of deception. All right? A lot of crafting, cunningness, sly of the men. And we got to be mindful of that, especially as men of the Lord or teachers of the Lord, of the Bible, that you don't want to jump out there jump out there on the deep end. Now you got to do a cleaning act because you done spoke on some shit that wasn't needed to be spoken on, because you saw something and you didn't give it a chance to build and develop and then speak on. Okay? Sometimes it's good. I love this example of, you know, and I'm gonna say this in closing, because, you know, what separates a great NFL running back from a good NFL running back, right? And I would say what separates the Barry Sanders and the Jim Browns and the Emmitt Smiths from a regular running back is that they understand that it's a pace. They take their time and let the whole develop, and then they hit it. They're not playing in one speed. They're not just hut and then it's just, no, you gotta let the line do something. Let the block open up over here and this, and they move at a certain pace, and they like, okay, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, not just 1, 4. So sometimes you gotta slow it down, calm down, breathe, let it develop. You know, we're gonna, you know, the news will say that we're any more developing on this story, we'll report it to you. But sometimes you gotta let it develop. You understand? It's not a sprint to see who got this first, man. That doesn't matter. Okay? That does not fucking matter at the end of the day. Okay? So like I say, be mindful of it. Some things ain't real. A lot of these videos, these pictures, the CGI, is so many things going on that we're gonna have to just trust in the spirit and go with the spirit go flow with the spirit. Okay? Hey, so with that, I want to close up. I want to give all the glory and honor to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Hey, double honors unto my apostles and elders. And shalom to all you that tuned in. Shalom to all the brothers that's out here risking their life and freedom for this. And shalom to the sincere sisters as well. Shalom.